I think that people are seeing now that AI can replace writers. It can replace, maybe some social media management type stuff. It can help us with scheduling. There's all these great things that AI can do, but AI is not going to show up to a conference and share its expertise, right? And help people learn who you are. Like AI can't replace you.
Welcome to Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm your host, Katie Brinkley. Join us as we dive deep with the world's leading digital marketing experts every single Tuesday. It's all about giving you the strategies that are working right now, directly from those who are making an impact. With my 20 years of experience, I'm here to help you navigate the world of digital marketing. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills or transform your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey to success. Today, I am joined by someone who knows a thing or two about standing out, especially in today's AI-driven world. Today's guest is Kelly Schuknecht, and she is a marketing strategist who helps professionals and entrepreneurs transform their expertise into powerful personal brands. She's led teams in publishing, nonprofits, and executive management, and she's also mastered the art of helping others turn ideas into influence. And today we're going to be talking about the big question. What does personal branding look like in the age of AI? How can entrepreneurs use it to build authority, to stay authentic, and to create real opportunities for growing your business? All right. So, Kelly, thank you so much for joining me. You are also here in Colorado. Before I hit record here, we were talking about how you're already getting snow.
Yep.
We haven't had any down here in the Denver area yet, but you got a little over the weekend. And, I want to talk to you. I love it whenever I have local people on the show because hopefully someone listening can just, be like, hey, let's go meet for coffee. If you can meet IRL, it's always a little bit better, right? So let's talk about some personal branding. I mean, because I feel like it's become such a buzzword, especially after COVID, when people want to know the businesses that they're doing business with on a whole new level, on that personal level. I think that having a quote unquote spokesperson for your brand and having that be a person is more important than ever. So let's talk about how personal branding has become such a buzzword. And I mean, honestly, what does it mean to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so, it's funny that I'm here talking with you about this because I saw you speak at a podcast conference a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, and that's what connected us,
Yep.
right? So I started my personal brand accidentally 15 years ago, but and I say accidentally because I wasn't intentionally building a personal brand. It wasn't what I was thinking. I was just kind of exploring. I was testing out new things on social media. I started a blog, right? But I created this personal brand. I met you at a conference and saw you speak, and that's how I learned about your brand. And I think that people are seeing now that AI can replace writers. It can replace, maybe some social media management type stuff. It can help us with scheduling. There's all these great things that AI can do. But AI is not going to show up to a conference and share its expertise, right? And help people learn who you are. Like AI can't replace you. So personal branding to me right now is more important than any other time in history because uh, that personal brand that you're developing through going out and speaking is what sets you apart from other people and helps people get to know you, learn about what you're doing, build that awareness and that credibility. So, yeah, I think that personal branding is, like I said, more important now than ever.
I agree. And I think that, this is honestly why I'm so excited for this conversation because I think that that's what so many entrepreneurs struggle with, right? Is what is my personal brand or how do I communicate my personal brand clearly? So I guess, why do you think that is?
I think that it's imposter syndrome. I think there's a few things, right? So imposter syndrome is one. It's like, who am I to be speaking on this topic? I think it's just time in general that we're busy. We get, our heads down, we're doing the work. Like we forget that we need to remind people that we exist. And I think also just we take our own expertise for granted. And I think I saw that I mentioned that I started my personal brand on accident because I was working in publishing. I created a blog that was book marketing with social media. I was teaching authors how to use social media to market their books because 15 years ago that was new, right? People
Mhm.
didn't know how to properly use these platforms and how to be successful on them. So I was talking about those things, right? And then my career kind of shifted over time, evolved. And when I decided to go out on my own, I started talking about the things that I had been doing. But, I wasn't thinking about it took me a little while to like get my head around the fact that not everyone has a background in
Yeah.
publishing and in marketing and 20 years of experience doing the things that I was doing. Right. So I think,
Kelly, it's so true, and I mean, I hate to interrupt you, but that was
yeah, yeah,
something that do you remember Clubhouse, the Clubhouse app?
yeah, I
I
tried
remember
it. I tried it. I couldn't do it.
well, I was all in on it, and kind of embarrassing now, it's kinda like saying that you played with Pogs as a kid, but anyways, so I was all in on Clubhouse, and when I was on it, I was afraid to tell people that I had a background in radio, that I used to be the postgame reporter for the Rockies and the Broncos, and I was afraid to tell them that I'd been doing social media since MySpace, and I remember talking with somebody that I had admired and I looked up to, and they said, "Wait a second, how" I had no idea, and I was like, "Oh, I know, it's kind of embarrassing because I gave up so early." Like, I landed my dream job, and then I just gave it up because and that, like, she's like, "That doesn't matter. You have an experience that other people don't. Like,
That's
your
right.
your background is what makes you stand out. It's
Yep.
some of your history." So I 100% agree, like, and sometimes we can feel a little ashamed, like I did. I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, I did this, but I gave up too soon, and I don't want people to know that I gave up too soon," but now I'm like, "Well, yeah, that was really cool." It served me at that point in my life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's not just the, like I gave up. It's also this idea that like I didn't realize that not everyone had that background. Like what I started to notice
Yeah.
was that people were asking me all the time because of I worked in publishing for 10 years. I ran a publishing company and everyone would be like, "Oh, you read books all the time. You're like this expert in, publishing, right?" And they'd ask me, "How do I write a book?" I mean, I had every time I would go to a conference, I would just mention that I worked in publishing. People would go, "Oh, I've always wanted to write a book." And I started to realize that I was having these same conversations over and over with people because they
Yeah.
didn't know the things that I knew and they were interested in how I could help them in learning what they wanted to learn to publish their book, to write it, whatever. And so it's when I finally like leaned into that and started saying, "You know what? Like I can teach people something. I do
Mhm.
have skills and experience that other people don't have and I could start helping people with that." And then I just realized how much people were coming to me even more because I was doing that. So I
Mhm.
think that we have to get out of our own heads. We really do take our skills, our experience for granted, and we don't realize how much we have to offer other people.
For 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%. So with personal branding, it's evolved a lot over the past few years. I think that more and more CEOs and business owners are leaning into having a personal brand, mostly because of social media. So how have you seen personal branding evolve because of, maybe social media and now AI?
Yeah, well, AI is the interesting one there, right? Because one of the things that we've seen evolve is that people are using AI to generate their content, and it's noticeable. And I'm not going to say that I don't use AI to generate content. I do, but it's a matter of how you use it and making it like really owning it, making it your own voice, making it your, help using it to help you generate ideas. I can take a podcast episode, for example, this one, right? And I can ask it to like, help me think through the things that I say during this that are teaching tidbits that I can share on social media. So, I mean, I can extract things like that's all great. But you see a lot of junk out there too. You see a lot of
Mm,
things that, like, you could tell that it was just generated by AI without a lot of thought put into it. It's just posting for the sake of posting and not thinking about the value you're providing. Um, so I'm not a anti-AI advocate, for content generation, but I think there's better ways to use it than what people are doing right now. There's also just a lot of content because people are using it. In fact, I was speaking last week at an event and somebody was asking me about just, well, can I just use AI to write my book? And I was like, yes, you can. And I don't recommend that because people can tell. Like,
Yeah.
people can tell when you just generate a book by AI rather than actually feeding it with your thoughts and helping it frame things for you or using it to,
Yeah.
like I said, to brainstorm. I mean, there's ways to use it that are effective, but just using it to write your book is not going to, you're not going to fool anyone, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I've seen evolve. Also, I've seen kind of the social media world go through some changes where it used to be a lot text. Nobody wanted to put their face on anything, right? I think that,
Mhm.
I think maybe COVID changed that for people because we got used to seeing ourselves all day, right? And being on video, and we got over kind of that fear of it. But now, video content is so much more effective because people like seeing your face and they like hearing you talk. And again,
Yeah.
it's not AI, right? It's me actually talking on the screen. So it's that personal touch, I think, that really people are engaging more with than ever before.
Yeah. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see maybe even just a month from now
I know.
what video will be like just because of Sora. And, it's just amazing to me how AI is taking over marketing. So, from your perspective, how is AI changing personal branding?
I think that AI is not replacing you as a person, right? So it's forcing people to do more video
Mhm.
content, to do more images, right? To do more things that are not AI to differentiate yourself, right? So, like, if I'm just going to post a bunch of text content that was generated by AI,
Mhm.
that is going to be noticeable. Whereas if I'm posting I'm at this event and I'm talking with people and I'm networking and, all of these things, it's going to stand out more and be more authentic. I think maybe that's the word. It's causing people to be more authentic in their content because
Yeah.
that's what really is engaging for people.
I've almost found myself when I am typing out my captions and stuff now, and instead of going back and editing them, I'm leaving the typos in there so people know
I've
it
heard that.
was written by me, and sure enough, like, I almost always do, capital MA, or, whenever I do 2 of the very first letters capitalized when I start a new sentence because I type so fast, and I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it in there. People know I actually wrote this now." And I think that it's exactly like what you said. It allows me to show that a human wrote this and I'm being authentic. I don't know. Do you see AI as being a threat to authenticity or as not an opportunity
I think it's an
to
opportunity.
elevate?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
why do you think of it as more of an opportunity to elevate your brand faster?
Yeah, well, I think that because people can tell the difference between an AI purely AI generated content piece
Mhm.
versus seeing somebody's face, seeing somebody talk. I even had one of my clients said recently that she's like, people are just generating content, even if it's video, they're using the captions and they're just reading AI generated scripts, right?
Mhm.
And she was like, and they think that you can't tell, but you can tell.
Mhm.
Whereas it's different if I'm going to take maybe a presentation I'm giving and then do 1 minute clips of me just talking and teaching something, right? I have been in Toastmasters in the past, and they're very nitpicky about saying and whatever, right? Right. And I have told my clients, I'm like, don't worry about it. Just be
Yes.
you. Don't worry about the every little thing that you do that's not perfect because it's what makes you you, right? Like, if
Mhm.
I'm gonna be so worried about every little, thing I say wrong, I'm just not gonna be good at expressing myself. I've got to just be authentically me, and I say, sometimes. I just do, and I'm not gonna apologize for
Yeah.
it, right?
I've found that even with this podcast and, my other podcast, Marketing Trends Now, I've told my team, I'm like, "Don't worry about editing everything out," like, because I make mistakes. For those that, I messed up your name at the very beginning of this. So, I mean, like, I'm like, you know what? Leave some of those human errors in there." I feel like now it's okay to show that we're all human and
Yep,
not perfect.
yeah.
So For someone that's trying to grow their thought leadership, what are a few AI tools or tactics that can actually help them show up more consistently online? Not, I mean, we all know that ChatGPT can help write your social media posts, whatever. But I mean, I don't know if they're going to be any good, but we all know that AI can help do that side of thing. What are some AI tools or tactics that you would recommend using to build thought leadership?
Yeah. Well, for one, you and I, we connected through a conference, but
Hmm.
then I think, then connected through PodMatch, right?
Yep. Yep. Great
PodMatch
tool. Love
is a
PodMatch.
great tool. And the background of PodMatch is all using AI, right? It's matching people by topics, by keywords, whatever, and it's helping connect podcasters, podcast hosts with guests. So that tool is great. Now, after this episode, when it comes out, what I'm going to do is use a tool like, it changed names. It used to be Video AI. I think it's now Quso
Okay.
AI. But anyways, it's a tool where you can take a video and it will create little clips of things that you're saying. So it used to be, because I've been in the podcast world for many years now, it used to be that when I was managing a marketing team, and we had some team members who were doing podcasts, and I would have to watch the entire episode and
Hmm.
handwrite what the timestamps were, and then have my production person make those clips for me of those times where somebody was saying something great and I wanted to share that, right? That would take me hours. One 30-minute podcast episode, I would have to listen to it. It would probably take me triple the time, right, just
Yeah.
to get those clips. Now I put it into this, again, I think it's called QSO. It's like QUSO, but it used to be Video
Sounds
AI.
similar to Opus Clips, kind of.
It's
So
like that.
yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yep. And you just put it in and it generates a dozen clips for you right
Mhm.
there. And you don't have to spend all of that time. You just can get those clips, right? So that's a great use of AI. That's a great tool to use. You can find the parts where, like, if you want to create a custom clip by part of the transcript, you can find the part of the
Mhm.
transcript. You could edit the video. I was just working on that this weekend. I was kind of I've done a ton of podcast interviews where I just have a ton of content that I need to repurpose. So I was going through and, like, finding those clips that I can use. So that's another great tool. I also think AI, like if you're using a ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, you can also feed something like that, something of you talking. It doesn't have to be a podcast, but if you're
Mm.
in a conversation with somebody where you're recording it, like if you're leading a team and you're sharing something with your team, whatever that is, you can feed that into AI and ask it, like, what did I say in here that I could share in other platforms, right? That I could share on LinkedIn, or I could share on whatever platform. And that, those tools really help you just think differently, to be more strategic with some of your content, to repurpose your content. All of those things are great ways to use those tools, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that using transcripts is one of the best ways to really get these AI models to understand how you talk and different fluctuations that you may do. So, the transcript side of things, I 100% agree with. Now, I want to talk about something that you mentioned earlier, but I feel like you kind of mentioned it in passing. And it kind of needs its own little spot in the sunlight or whatever, or stage in the spotlight, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It needs its time, and this needs its time to shine, because writing my book, The Social Shift, was one of the best things I did for my personal brand. It helped me get more paid speaking opportunities, more speaking opportunities in general, is when I had my book, and it really helped me elevate my own personal brand and thought leadership. And I think that, that's one thing you've done a lot. You have a background in publishing. You've helped so many professionals, use books as a credibility tool. You said something about don't have AI write your book. And so many people, I think, and it seems like everyone's writing a book these days. And it's like, well, why do you think we should not use AI to write the book for us? Because, like you said previously, having a book is one of the best ways to build credibility and to build authority. Why can't we use AI as that little handicap?
Well, I've mentioned a couple times that AI can't replace you, right? We talked about going to events, speaking, whatever, but also you have knowledge, right? AI can like pull together all the things and come up with some, it can come up with things to write about, but you have the skills and experience. Well, so let's say I want to write a book because I'm gonna, Katie, on how to write your book, right? I want to write a book. I have a course on how to write a book in 12 weeks, but I want to like turn that into an actual book that I can share with people, right?
Yep.
So if I want to do that, yes, I can use AI to just put it all together. But I have personal experience working with authors for the last 20 years. I know what holds them back. I know the things they say, why, the excuses they make. As I'm telling you how I have not written this book yet, I'm telling you that I hear the excuses from people, right?
Mhm.
And I know what will help them uh, get out of their head and start writing the book. I know what structure they need, what pace they need. I know those things. And I also know that it's not the same, it's not a one formula for every person. I know that one client I work with might be able to work really fast, somebody else might drag their feet, whatever. Right. So there's all of these things. I can share these stories. I can help people who maybe are different in what they need for how what they need to actually get the book done, right? AI doesn't know that.
Yeah.
AI can put some stuff on paper, but it doesn't have any of the stories to share. And you and I know, being in marketing, that stories are what really resonate in marketing, that people, when they relate with the story you're telling, or you're telling a story, it helps them remember something. Those things are really important. And AI is not going to do that. Like it's not going to come up with those stories to share.
Yeah.
So the other thing, just from a logistical standpoint, couple years ago, I kind of played around with it. Like, okay, I'm going to write a book. And I just started using AI to write a book, right? And it would write a chapter. And then I would get, like, let's say I was on chapter one. By the time I got to chapter five, it might repeat things it had said before, because it's not going from start to finish being able to remember anything that it had put in there. It was way more work to like figure out what AI was doing and fix it than it was to just put my thoughts on paper, right? So
Yeah.
you can use AI to help you, like, maybe outline something, maybe think of new areas where you might be able to add in stories, or there's ways that you can use it, but just to use it to write the book, it's not authentic, it's not coming from you, it's not your ideas, and people are going to know that.
Yeah. And one thing that I learned when I was writing my book, by the way, I'm in the middle of writing another one, and man, I was like a writing machine right at the beginning, and now I'm kind of like in this weird purgatory of, "Oh, should I just scrap it, or like what's going to happen?" Yeah. So, anyways, but another book is coming
It
someday.
happens.
But
Yep.
that's one of the things I think that a lot of people might start writing, or might say, "Hey, I have this great idea," or maybe they even are saying like, "Well, there's already a book on my topic. Why should I bother?" What would you say to them?
So I've heard that one, like, well, that's already out there, right? Also, I've heard that, like, I don't even know what I would talk about. But again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the we don't understand sometimes the value that we bring, and like, what that our skills and experience is unique and different from other people's.
Yeah.
So even if there is a book out there on that topic, like, I can tell you right now, there's books out there on how to write a book, right? Like, but I know that what I can share with people might help somebody differently than that other book, right? One of the books I love is like Atomic Habits. That's a great book. There's probably
Great book.
millions of books out there on habit building, productivity, all of these things, right? But that one was unique in its approach, and it blew up because it worked for people. Another one, good example, is Bullet Journal. I read that book. The Bullet Journal is a unique approach to journaling. Journaling is not new. People have been journaling for hundreds of years, right? But this person's approach resonated with people, and people, like, it blew up. If you're not familiar with bullet journaling, if you search bullet journal, you'll find millions of videos, communities, posts about, like, whatever. People, it resonated with people and they loved it. So even though there's other books out there on the same topic, you've got a book on social social
Media.
media, right? Social media marketing, content generation. There's books out there about that, but it's not coming from your perspective and what you have to share with people. So I think that we have to get out of our heads and remember that we have something unique to share with the world.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that that's one of the having a book really helps solidify that personal brand.
Yeah.
If someone's listening right now and they're thinking, okay, well, I'm still kind of struggling to figure out what my personal brand is. I haven't really defined it. I can't be starting to write a book or anything. So where should they start? How would you help somebody that's listening right now and they're like, all right, apparently this is it. I have to dive into the personal brand for my business. Where would you tell them to start?
One of the things I think everyone should think about is I call it your authority X factor. What makes you different, right? Um, and for me, that was looking at I spent 10 years running a publishing company. I spent 7, 8 years building a marketing department and specifically helping somebody build their thought leadership platform, right? So when I went out on my own, I took all of those years of skills and experience and I was like, what am I good at and what can I
Yeah.
help people with? And I leaned into that and I summarized that in, like my unique authority X factor is helping people get their story out there to understand their unique value and to reach their target audience through speaking, through podcasting, through writing a book, all of those things. And I think that when you really tap into that, that's when you get clarity around your personal brand. It helps you understand what are the things I should be talking about on social media. It should be related to my unique authority
Mhm.
X factor, right? If I'm pulling drawing at straws, like I'm just pulling in random thoughts and sharing that. That's not a cohesive
Yeah.
strategy, right? But it's the leaning into that unique expertise that you have. So the first thing I think is to get clarity around that for yourself. And if you don't know, ask people around you because
Yeah.
other people have an impression of who you are and what you do. And they might help you get that clarity just by asking them, like, what do you think I offer? What do you think I bring to the table? And then from there, creating a strategy around how you're going to get yourself out there, right? So for me and most of my clients, it's LinkedIn is our social media platform
Mhm.
of choice because that's where we're going to reach other professional services companies, B2B. But for it depends on what you're doing, right? So it might be Instagram, it might be TikTok, whatever that is, making kind of a list of those topics you want to talk about and starting to produce that content on a regular basis.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and again, depends on who your audience is, but if you're a B2B professional services type company, the other things that I recommend are getting on podcasts that helps you refine your messaging and yeah. And also just networking with other podcasters. It helps you with content generation. There's so many things that podcasting does for you if you're building your personal brand. And then if it's a business you're growing, getting speaking events. So those are kind of the go-to tools in the toolkit that I recommend to people.
And if people are wondering about how to get on more podcasts, we talked about PodMatch earlier. Love Alex. He's the one of the co-founders of PodMatch, Alex Sanfilippo. And if you're interested in trying it out, I have an affiliate link, joinpodmatch.com/Katie. Been on the tool for almost 5 years now, and it's brought in some amazing connections.
Yeah,
And, yeah, I mean, even this, like, we're both in Colorado, but we would have this never would have happened if it weren't for that tool. So I'm a
right.
big
Yeah,
fan of
yeah.
PodMatch. Well, Kelly, this has been such an awesome conversation. You've given us so many great ideas and insights into how we can use AI without losing our voice, how to elevate our authority through publishing, because having a book really can take your business and your personal brand to that next level. Before we wrap up, where can listeners connect with you to learn more about you and your work?
So I have a thought leader scorecard. If you're somebody who is looking to develop your thought leadership platform and your personal brand, you can go to my website, which is 2milehighmarketing.com. Right at the top, there's a quiz. It takes 3 minutes and it will ask you some questions and help you think through where you fall as a thought leader and what are some of the things that you could be doing if you want to develop your platform further. So that is a free resource for people. And then also, if you would connect with me on LinkedIn, I post content about thought leadership and personal branding almost daily.
Amazing. And we'll include all those links in the show notes.
Perfect.
Be sure to go get that, fill out that questionnaire, that scorecard, because I think that it's going to really help you see where you're at with I mean, where are you at with your personal brand? And I honestly, we can all find different spots to improve upon, and having a personal brand, especially in this world of AI, is so important because you are the differentiator, not these robots. So, if you
Right.
love today's conversation, be sure to subscribe to Rocky Mountain Marketing so that you never miss an episode. And if you're ready to take your brand to the next step, be sure to connect with me and my team, and we can help you with your podcast journey as well. Kelly, thank you again for so much for joining me on this week's episode.
Thank you, Katie. It was fun.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.